I live in a house of rules. I should explain. I moved here 3 months ago, flat number 27. The flat was a repossession. I never met the previous owner, and to date only know him from the post I received in his name. I could make up stories of him vanishing or his screams being heard in the darkness one night. I could make exaggerated claims about all of this. But this is not a work of fiction, nor is it written to entertain. I had just gotten a new job, a promotion I had waited for years. This was meant to be the next step to greater things, but I needed to move quickly to save on the long drive every day. When I found this place, I was overjoyed. This was well located, within my price range, and, apart from being extremely run down and dirty, had so much potential. It's a duplex apartment, with a guest room and a spare bathroom on the ground floor, and a dressing room and several storage rooms on the top floor. The purchase was a complicated one, due in part to the poor record-keeping and the loss of deeds and plans on the house, which should have taken a month from start to finish took 4 times as long. Because of the length of time, I took several viewings and each time was amazed by windows and cupboards that I had not recalled from previous visits. Rooms seemed bigger and brighter, more inviting. Even the estate agent was baffled that the property listing documents were consistently wrong. The neighbors on the block of flats are a strange lot. They don't talk. They keep to routines you can set a clock by. When I moved in, I tried to invite them to a housewarming, so desperate was I to meet new people. Not one of them came. They get in at the same time every day and never leave the house. I never hear them moving around at night. One of them, a nervous man from upstairs, who consistently fidgets and glances around, apologized afterward. He explained his lack of attendance was simply that he wasn't allowed to. At the time, I presumed he meant his wife. But now, I'm not so certain. As he was the only one that I got to know since the move, I did my best to become friendly, and even felt like I was making headway. Then, I made the mistake about asking about the previous owner, to which he made an awkward and short response before making his excuses. I've not seen or heard from him since. The rules, as I came to understand them, became apparent over time. The first was sleeping only in my bedroom. I only slept once in the lounge on purpose, dozing on the sofa, until I woke up and my arm was trapped between the sofa and the wall. A wall that was several feet away from the sofa when I closed my eyes a few hours earlier. I was overcome by a feeling, a very familiar feeling, that I was somewhere I shouldn't be. This feeling wouldn't leave me until I hurriedly stumbled to my bed, where I only felt truly safe when I hid under the blankets like a scared child. I only fell asleep once more in the lounge after that, by accident. I was awoken once again with the feeling that I should leave, that it would be unsafe to stay, and that I should not be there. This time, however, a sweater I had left across the room on the radiator was tied around my neck and pulled tightly enough to leave a stinging mark on my throat. The rule of sleeping only in my bedroom stands alongside others, countless others. I learned that I should clean up my dishes immediately when I stepped out of the kitchen after disposing my plate and sat down on a safety pin that was jutting out of the back of the sofa. I learned not to take too long showers when the water suddenly turns scalding hot and remained so, no matter how much I desperately tried to turn it off, and then was inexplicably normal temperature when I tried it moments after. I learned that I should hover and keep the place tidy, that I must not waste electricity, and that no matter what noises I hear at night, I should never, ever explore. Another rule is guests are not welcome. The last time I had a guest, it was a friend who had invited themselves, despite my concerns that I could not air down for the weekend by making arguments to come see me until I relented. How could I not? I spent the entire time terrified for their safety, and pretty much drove them away with my strange behavior accordingly. But there were no events. Such things made me bold, and I began to relax. I stayed awake until late, played music at night, and did whatever I wanted, even going as far as feeling like I had triumphed as the house remained meekly quiet. It was almost immediately after they left that I noticed the headache and the nausea, which got worse and worse as the gas leak continued. I only just made it out before I succumbed. I have so many things I could tell you, example after example. I don't know where to begin. I need you to look past your skepticism and see that this is real. This is more than coincidence. This is more than just child's play haunting. I'm not being haunted. I'm being ruled. The rules are only part of it. They're the part that I play. The rest is done without me, and not only that, but done around me. The walls shift. Doors open some days and won't the next. The number of windows in my bedroom increases one by one over consecutive nights, and then there's only one again. There's a cupboard at the top of my stairs that changes in size quite regularly. One of the most terrifying experiences of my life was when I opened it and saw it went back several meters more than I remembered. When I walked in, somehow, the door shut behind me, and I groped in the dark, silently reaching out for a wall I knew must be there, yet my fingers touched only air. I don't know how long I fumbled in the dark, but it was only as my panic attack rose that my shaking fingers found the wooden door. Have you ever woken up in a room with a chair sitting at the end of your bed? A chair that came from the dining room? The dining room that was down a flight of stairs along the hallway? Have you ever walked into a room and see a storage cupboard that wasn't there before? Have you ever observed more stairs on a staircase as you go down them than there were when you went up? Have you ever entered a room looking for something, and then when you gave up and left, realized an hour and a half had passed? I've lived all these things, and were I a better, more sophisticated man, I would have kept a running log of all of it. I would have found proof I need to show the world that I'm not crazy, that this is real. This is a nightmare I'm living. 5 hours have passed since I sat down to write this, and when once I hoped to prepare lunch, and hope that there's no drawing pins in my bread, last week when I realized I hadn't hoovered. Instead, it's getting dark. I now live a life of routine, just like my neighbors. I just turned off the music. No loud noises after dark is one of the rules. It's one that I hate the most because it makes me feel so alone. Lights left on in rooms that are empty, or too many in one room, are prone to fusing, or even shattering without warning. So I currently only have one glare of the screen, the television, and a lamp. Soon I shall go to bed. The doors are shut behind me as I head up to the bed, locked behind me, and I will wake up in a room with windows wherever they please, and doors that may or may not open to cupboards that can be as small or as big as every variation allows. The television in the room I'm in is a satellite connection, and with it countless channels. Right now, all are a fuzz of static, except for the National Geographic, so I'm forced to listen to a documentary on carnivorous plants as I type. I try not to dwell on the exhaustion of a beetle on the screen, as it tries in vain to escape from the prison that soon digests it. The remote doesn't appear to work. It took my pulling the plug from the socket to turn it off just a moment ago, and even then, I was loath to do so, for the fear that it might stay on never left me. And I knew that if those images had continued when the plug was removed, I would have screamed myself into madness. I could push the neighbors to talk to me. I could rebel against the rules. I could start a fire and torch the whole building. But truly, I just want to get by. I get the feeling that up until now, I've simply been coached, like a dog, to do what's required of me. I feel like the punishments could get a lot worse. The occasional demonstration of strength, and the occasional mild punishments when I transgress, like one taps the nose of a dog when it misbehaves. That's what I hope for if I can behave. Stepping out of line only causes me harm and fear. It's only out of fear and reference in my own human dignity that I don't explain what happens when the house really feels it needs to punish. Needless to say, the scar will be with me for the rest of my life. Which brings us here. I can't go on. I took the decision to write this with the remaining fight I still have with me, to at least ask for help. I can't do it over the phone. I can't write a letter. My only hope is to write it into a story, conspicuous and without details that might draw attention to the content. All I can hope is that someone sees enough to spot my cry for help. They can find a way to contact me where I can get the lifeline I need to escape. I can't ask directly, it's too risky. Besides, any form of open rebellion has been snuffed out of me with pain, suffering, and terror. I fear for my safety, for my punishment of breaking the rules. I'm surprised that it's been allowing me to get this far. In over 1,000 words I've written, there hasn't been a power cut or a computer error that's lost everything. Perhaps there's still hope. But the truth is, I'm scared. Scared of what touched my face in my sleep the night before last, after I accidentally left the tap running, clutching firmly to the bruises on my cheek that still remain. I'm scared of what left a pair of scissors in my slippers, of what power moves wooden doors and plaster walls, seemingly at a whim. Most of all, I'm scared that by writing this, I may wake up in a tiny room, with no doors or windows. A room that grows smaller every time I blink.